Good evening, my friends. You are now on the Fact Fleck channel. Tonight, we'll gently guide you through a collection of fascinating facts, the kind you can relax to and maybe even fall asleep with. So, get comfortable, take a deep breath, and let's begin.
Artificial Christmas trees were first created in the 19th century by a German company that made toilet brushes. They used the same machinery to shape wire and bristles into green pine-like branches, providing a fire-resistant alternative to real trees, which were often dangerous indoors. Whale sharks have tiny, non-functional teeth covering their eyes, with up to 3,000 teeth on each eyelid. These teeth serve as a protective barrier, shielding the eyes from debris and small parasites while the sharks swim through plankton-rich waters. Starfish can regenerate lost limbs and, in some cases, an entire body from a single arm. This happens because they possess undifferentiated cells in their central disc that can develop into new organs and tissues, allowing them to recover even from severe injuries. A single bolt of lightning can reach temperatures of around 30,000 kelvins, which is about 5 times hotter than the surface of the sun. Lightning can carry currents up to 30,000 amperes and travel tens of kilometers, releasing immense energy in a fraction of a second. George Lucas, the creator of Star Wars, has never personally received an Oscar, despite his films winning awards for editing, visual effects, sound, and more. However, he was honored with the Irving G. Thalberg Memorial Award in 1991 for his lifetime achievements in filmmaking. Marathon runners can lose approximately 2 to 3 centimeters in height by the end of a race due to spinal compression and dehydration. The repetitive impact on joints and vertebrae temporarily compresses cartilage, but height usually returns after rest and recovery. Salmon become especially vulnerable before spawning because exhaustion, organ stress, and hormonal changes weaken them. During this period, they stop eating, their immune systems decline, and they are more prone to predation and environmental hazards. When sitting on a chair, you're technically hovering above it at the atomic level. The negatively charged electron clouds in your body repel the electron clouds in the chair, preventing the atoms from physically touching while still supporting your weight. The Russian taiga, the world's largest forest biome, contains 38 protected nature reserves. These areas safeguard biodiversity, including Siberian tigers, brown bears, lynxes, and vast numbers of migratory birds, as well as ancient coniferous trees that can live for centuries. Horseradish contains 16.3% sugar, more than double the 7% found in regular radish, though its spicy compounds, called glucose enolates, mask the sweetness. These compounds are also responsible for its strong pungent aroma and its traditional use as a medicinal root. In the United States, service dogs are legally ranked higher than their human handlers to ensure strict consequences if the animals are harmed or abused. This status grants them protection under federal and state laws, emphasizing their crucial role in assisting people with disabilities. The longest palm leaves in the world grow on certain species in Madagascar, reaching up to 20 meters in length. These leaves are not only striking visually, but also play an essential role in photosynthesis, water regulation, and providing shelter for various endemic wildlife species. All clownfish are born male, and in a social group, the dominant male can transform into a female if the female dies. This sequential hermaphroditism allows the species to maintain reproductive stability, ensuring that breeding pairs are always present in their anemone habitats. An Ijosicen Paracotan volcano in Mexico erupted and grew 336 meters within a single year. The eruption covered nearby farmland in lava and ash, destroying homes. But it also became one of the few volcanoes whose complete formation from birth to dormancy was documented scientifically. Japan's first public wanted criminal photographs, issued in the early 20th century, featured the very person who had developed the system. This ironic twist highlighted the inventor's role in law enforcement innovation while inadvertently marking himself as a criminal in the historical record. Some South American catfish species are nicknamed wood-eating because locals historically used dried specimens as firewood. These fish feed primarily on organic matter in riverbeds, and their bodies dry into lightweight combustible material, making them a curious cultural resource. The loneliest tree, an acacia in the Tenor Desert, once stood completely isolated, 400 kilometers from any other tree, before being accidentally struck and destroyed by a vehicle in the 1970s. Today, a metal sculpture marks its former location, commemorating its unique status as a solitary natural landmark. Lou Battery, a U.S. skier, continued traveling and competing with his wife on a motorcycle sidecar until he reached the age of 107. His longevity and active lifestyle made him notable in the sports community, demonstrating remarkable endurance and a lifelong passion for skiing and adventure. Studies show that many animals, from rats to monkeys, prefer to work for food rather than receive it freely. This phenomenon, observed in controlled experiments, suggests that effort and reward provide cognitive stimulation and a sense of achievement, even for non-human species. Filipino President Fidel Ramos once famously overslept during a punctuality event, explaining that he had stayed up late watching a golf tournament the previous night. This anecdote illustrates the human side of political leaders and highlights the cultural influence of sports on daily routines, even at the highest levels of government. The deep-sea fish Acanthostomata holds the record for the smallest brain-to-body ratio among vertebrates. Despite its tiny brain, it survives extreme deep-sea conditions using instinct and specialized sensory adaptations rather than complex cognition. In 1993, Elvis Presley-themed stamps were mailed to fictional addresses inspired by his song titles. Many of these letters were returned or delivered creatively, turning the stunt into a playful tribute to the King of Rock and showing public fascination with both. Elvis and postal experiments. Sharks can expel unwanted stomach contents by turning their stomachs inside out, a process called eversion. This unique behavior helps them remove indigestible material or parasites, maintaining digestive health in harsh marine environments. Napoleon Bonaparte nearly joined the Russian army early in his career, but bureaucratic complications prevented his enlistment, showing how chance and administration can alter the paths of even famous leaders. Gazelle-Next vehicles produced in Russia secretly include a Tetris game in their onboard computers. Drivers and passengers discovered this hidden feature, providing entertainment during long trips and showing how playful Easter eggs appear even in commercial technology. Paul McCartney's debut single with Mary Hopkin included lyrics adapted from a Russian novel. This creative choice blended literary influence with pop music, showing McCartney's experimental approach to songwriting and interest in cross-cultural artistic inspiration. The River Thames near London hosts at least 5 unusual bird species, including the sacred ibis. Despite urbanization, these species adapted to the river environment, creating an unexpected oasis for birdwatchers and highlighting surprising biodiversity in populated areas. During Iceland's 2010 parliamentary elections, a satirical party called The Best Party won seats while openly promising corruption and absurd policies. Their victory reflected public dissatisfaction with traditional politics and illustrated how humor and social commentary can influence real-world governance. Many fish produce sounds for communication or defense by vibrating swim bladders, grinding teeth, or rubbing gills. These noises serve purposes ranging from mating calls to territorial warnings, revealing a complex underwater auditory world rarely noticed by humans. In 2018, Japan's cybersecurity minister admitted he did not know how to operate a computer and relied entirely on aids for technical matters. This admission highlighted challenges of digital literacy even at high government levels and raised questions about effective oversight in the modern technological age. Freshwater mussels start their life cycle as tiny larvae called glachidia, which attach themselves to the gills or fins of fish. This parasitic stage allows them to travel and disperse across waterways before dropping off to mature into sedentary adult mussels, showcasing an unusual adaptation for survival and reproduction in freshwater ecosystems. In 2015, New Zealand held a flag referendum, and one of the proposed designs humorously featured a kiwi bird shooting lasers from its eyes. Although this design ultimately did not win, it captured public imagination and demonstrated the playful creativity considered in national symbolism debates. Lake Baikal in Siberia is home to nearly 4,000 species, 80% of which exist nowhere else on Earth. This extreme level of endemism makes the lake a unique ecological treasure, highlighting its significance for conservation and scientific research. King Frederick the Great of Prussia once orchestrated a fake potato patrol to make potatoes appear valuable and desirable to the population. By spreading rumors of protection and scarcity, he encouraged people to cultivate and consume the tuber, ultimately improving the kingdom's food security. The rivets on jeans were originally designed purely for durability, reinforcing stress points like pockets and seams for laborers. Over time, this practical design element evolved into a global fashion statement, illustrating how functional innovation can become iconic style. Some aquarium fish are artificially colored through specialized diets containing pigments such as carotenoids. This practice enhances their natural hues for aesthetic appeal, though it may also influence fish health if not carefully managed, highlighting the intersection of biology and human preference. The cascading green code in the Matrix movies is derived from Japanese cookbooks, specifically recipes printed in katakana. This detail, created by the film's production designer, transformed mundane cooking text into an iconic visual motif representing the digital world. Salmonicola is a genus of parasitic fish capable of surviving in oxygen-free environments. These parasites inhabit the gills of salmon and have evolved unique physiological adaptations that allow them to extract nutrients and live in extreme low oxygen conditions, demonstrating the diversity of survival strategies in nature. Lloyd-le-Damen is an uninhabited island frequently shrouded in clouds, creating a mysterious and isolated appearance. Its constant mist results from local microclimate conditions, giving it a striking and almost otherworldly landscape that fascinates geographers and travelers alike. In the early 20th century, radium-infused energy drinks were marketed to consumers as remedies for fatigue and impotence. These beverages, later discovered to be hazardous due to radioactivity, reflect historical periods of experimental medicine and the public's fascination with miracle cures. Sharks first appeared over 400 million years ago, long before trees existed on Earth. Their ancient lineage makes them one of the oldest groups of vertebrates, with evolutionary adaptations like cartilage-based skeletons and keen senses allowing them to survive multiple mass extinctions. In 1980, CNN prepared a video imagining the day of the end of the world, which featured a hymn performance to simulate global catastrophe. This hypothetical broadcast demonstrates early attempts by media outlets to explore dramatic what-if scenarios in visual storytelling. Most farmed salmon are deaf because additives in their feed designed to accelerate growth impair auditory development. This unintended consequence affects their communication and behavior compared to wild salmon, raising concerns about aquaculture practices and animal welfare. On November 2, 2000, the first permanent human presence in space was established aboard the International Space Station. This milestone marked the beginning of continuous human habitation in orbit, supporting long-term scientific research and international collaboration in space exploration. In Chicago, a monkey was once jailed for theft after reportedly stealing personal belongings from people. The incident highlights unusual cases in urban legal history and serves as a quirky anecdote about human-animal interactions in cities. Uranus experiences only 2 seasons, each lasting 42 Earth years, due to its extreme axial tilt of about 98 degrees. This causes prolonged periods of sunlight or darkness at the poles, creating unusual climatic conditions compared to planets like Earth. The Vesuvian swamps in Russia are among the largest swampy areas in the world, spanning millions of hectares. These wetlands serve as a vital carbon sink, host unique flora and fauna, and play a critical role in regulating regional hydrology and climate. During autumn, polar bears often metabolize stored fat to meet their water needs. This physiological adaptation allows them to survive when liquid water is scarce in their icy habitats, demonstrating how extreme environments shape animal metabolism. Stockholm installed cameras at intersections tied to a lottery system to reward drivers who follow traffic laws. Law-abiding motorists could win cash prizes, creating a behavioral incentive for safer driving while combining surveillance with positive reinforcement. The finnick, considered the smallest forest cat, weighs approximately 1.5 kilograms. Native to Southeast Asia, this elusive feline is arboreal and nocturnal, relying on its small size and agility to hunt insects and small vertebrates in dense forest habitats. Human fingers lack muscles and move entirely through tendons that run from the forearm into each finger. These tendons transmit force from small forearm muscles, allowing precise movements for tasks like typing, playing instruments, and gripping objects, despite the fingers themselves being muscle-free. The Mississippi River briefly flowed backward during the massive New Madrid earthquakes of 1811 to 1812. These seismic events altered the riverbed, caused local subsidence, and temporarily reversed the flow, demonstrating how natural disasters can dramatically impact even the largest rivers. In ancient Greece, women calculated age using 2 systems, from birth and from the date of marriage. This dual counting reflected societal priorities, where marriage marked the start of a woman's formal social responsibilities, making age a flexible social measure rather than a purely biological one. Admiral Horace Nelson suffered frequent seasickness but retained a lifelong love of sailing. Despite his physical discomfort, his naval career thrived, demonstrating that passion for the sea could outweigh personal physical limitations in pursuing maritime leadership. Photographer Robert Landsberg survived a volcanic eruption long enough to shield his camera from molten debris. His dedication preserved visual records of the eruption, highlighting the risks early photojournalists faced in capturing natural disasters firsthand. In Germany, a bear riding a motorcycle once drove through 3 intersections before authorities managed to stop it. The bear, trained for entertainment, became an unexpected public spectacle, demonstrating the unpredictability of performing animals in urban settings. Only about a quarter of ethnic Mongols actually reside in Mongolia today. The majority live across regions in China, Russia, and Central Asia, reflecting historical migrations and the dispersal of Mongol populations beyond their homeland. A Sumerian king once temporarily crowned his gardener as ruler to prevent a predicted disaster. Ancient Mesopotamian rituals sometimes involve symbolic transfers of power to avert misfortune, showing the blend of superstition and governance in early civilizations. When Skylab's debris landed in Australia during its uncontrolled re-entry, local authorities fined the US $500. This humorous historical note reflects how space missions occasionally create legal and diplomatic quirks, even when no human harm occurs. Jack Daniel, the founder of the famous whiskey brand, died from an infected toe sustained after kicking his safe in frustration. The injury turned fatal due to infection, emphasizing how minor accidents could become deadly before modern medicine. In Europe, white was traditionally associated with mourning rather than weddings. This changed during Queen Victoria's reign, when she wore a white dress at her wedding, popularizing the color as a symbol of purity and celebration, a practice that has since become standard worldwide. In medieval Germany, people believed that kissing could alleviate toothaches. This superstition reflects historical attempts to link human interaction and physical remedies, showing how folk medicine often combined ritual and belief rather than scientific understanding. In 1956, Tommy Fitzpatrick became notorious for stealing a small plane not once but twice in Manhattan. His audacious acts captured public attention and highlighted the challenges of aviation security in the mid-20th century. Fidel Castro once honored a record-producing cow with both a statue and an obituary. This unusual tribute underscored the significance of agricultural achievements in Cuba and the symbolic importance placed on livestock in certain communities. Rainbows are actually full circles, though from the ground we typically see only an arc. Observers from airplanes or high mountains can sometimes see the complete circular spectrum of colors, revealing the true geometric nature of light refraction through water droplets. In Lachille, Italy, a local fountain creates an optical illusion that makes water appear as molten lava when sunlight hits it at certain angles. This phenomenon demonstrates how light and perspective can dramatically alter perception in everyday environments. Only 2 to 7% of human genes are exclusive to our species. The vast majority of our DNA is shared with other animals, especially primates, emphasizing the close evolutionary relationships that link humans to the wider animal kingdom. Australia famously lost a war against emus in 1932 when the birds destroyed crops despite military intervention. This event, now remembered humorously, highlights how wildlife can outsmart human technology and organization. Bermuda lacks natural freshwater sources, relying almost entirely on rainwater collection and storage systems. This dependence has shaped local architecture, water management strategies, and the daily lives of residents for centuries. The Loch Ness Monster, despite debates over its existence, is protected under Scottish law. This legal protection reflects the cultural and historical significance of the legend, preserving it as part of national heritage and tourism identity. Thomas Edison implemented automation in his factories, partly to prevent labor strikes. By reducing reliance on human workers for repetitive tasks, he sought to maintain productivity and minimize the impact of organized labor disputes, reflecting early industrial strategies for workforce control. White flower petals appear white not because of pigments, but due to transparent cells containing tiny air gaps. These structures scatter light across all visible wavelengths, creating the perception of a pure white surface to the human eye. Hippos are able to sleep underwater thanks to an automatic breathing reflex. Even while submerged, they periodically rise to the surface without conscious effort, ensuring oxygen intake while maintaining rest in aquatic environments. In China, approximately 200 surnames account for the majority of the population. This concentration illustrates historical lineage preservation and cultural continuity, as well as the influence of family names on social identity over millennia. Alexander Suvorov, the Russian general, rewarded his soldiers with silver coins that were pierced so they could be worn. This practical approach allowed soldiers to carry their rewards visibly on clothing, symbolizing both honor and functional recognition. In English translations, the owner of Tom and Jerry is called Mom Two Slippers, reflecting an attempt to maintain the original humor and cultural nuance from the series' initial language context while localizing it for international audiences. Pont Neuf in Paris is the city's oldest permanent bridge, completed in the early 17th century. Despite its name meaning new bridge, it has withstood centuries of use and remains a central historical and architectural landmark. The word school comes from the Greek word shop, which originally meant leisure, or a break from work. Ancient Greek education viewed learning as a period of thoughtful reflection, connecting study with time away from manual labor. Concrete arrows built across the United States in the 1920s served as visual navigation aids for early airmail pilots. These large markers, often painted with bright numbers and directions, guided planes before the advent of modern radio navigation systems. The longest recorded football match lasted 36 hours in the United Kingdom. This marathon game tested players' endurance and highlighted unusual sporting records, becoming a memorable event in football history for both participants and spectators. The Moscow Kremlin is considered the world's largest medieval fortress, encompassing over 27 hectares with massive walls and towers. Its construction spans centuries, reflecting the evolution of Russian defensive architecture and serving as both a political center and a symbol of national heritage. The term hipster originally referred to jazz enthusiasts in the 1930s, describing young adults who were deeply engaged with the jazz subculture, often adopting its fashion, language, and attitudes as part of a distinctive lifestyle. Fog forms when tiny water droplets condense in the air near the ground, creating low-lying clouds, whereas mist consists of even smaller water particles or dust and smoke, often appearing less dense and dispersing more quickly than fog. Greenland cannot join FIFA because its harsh climate prevents the growth of natural grass pitches, which are required for international football matches. Despite local enthusiasm for the sport, artificial turf has not been universally accepted by governing bodies. In Finland, Sonia Day is celebrated on July 27th, during which honorary citizens are traditionally tossed into water as a playful ceremony. This quirky event reflects local customs combining humor, recognition, and communal participation. In early Canadian history, playing cards were sometimes used as makeshift banknotes due to shortages of official currency. These cards were marked and signed by local authorities to serve as temporary money in daily transactions. In 5th-10th century Europe, bookworm infestations were feared as they could destroy valuable manuscripts and printed texts. Scholars and libraries took precautions to protect collections from these tiny insects, whose damage could compromise knowledge preservation. The characteristic smell of the sea comes largely from iodine, released by a decaying seaweed. This natural chemical reaction produces volatile compounds that are carried by the wind, giving coastal areas their distinctive oceanic scent. Australia is the only continent with dormant volcanoes, many of which have not erupted for thousands of years. These geological formations contribute to the continent's diverse landscape and provide evidence of ancient tectonic activity. In the microgravity environment of space, the absence of normal gravitational forces causes astronauts to lose bone density and muscle mass rapidly. Without countermeasures like exercise routines and specialized equipment, prolonged stays in orbit can significantly weaken the body. In Macedonia, a beekeeper famously sued a bear for stealing honey from his hives, and actually won. The case highlights not only local interactions with wildlife, but also the rare legal acknowledgement of property rights, showing that even wild animals can be held accountable in unusual circumstances. The word dinosaur originates from Greek, meaning terrible lizard. Coined in the 19th century by paleontologist Sir Richard Owen, the term reflects both the massive size and fearsome appearance of these prehistoric reptiles, which captured the imagination of scientists and the public alike. Dopier is the art of sculpting living plants into intricate and decorative forms. Practitioners carefully guide growth over years, using techniques like pruning and wiring to create living sculptures that merge horticultural knowledge with artistic creativity, resulting in remarkable, ever-changing displays. Atoms that form every human body are billions of years older than the individuals themselves. These atoms were created in stars long before Earth existed, meaning that each person carries material from ancient cosmic events, connecting humans to the life cycles of stars across the universe. The Sun takes roughly 200 million years to complete a full orbit around the center of the Milky Way galaxy. This immense journey illustrates the vast scale and motion of our solar system, reminding us how tiny Earth is in comparison to the enormous dynamics of the galaxy. The world's largest camera ever constructed measured 11 meters in length. Built in the 19th century for large-scale photographic projects, it's captured unprecedented detail and stands as an extraordinary example of early engineering, ambition, and technical ingenuity in photography. Pizza Louis X, served in Italy, costs $12,000 and features luxury ingredients like white truffles, caviar, and gold leaf. This extravagant culinary creation combines rare ingredients and artistic presentation, reflecting the extremes of gourmet cuisine and the fascination with opulence in food culture. Indonesia comprises 17,804 islands, of which 9,634 remain unnamed. This immense archipelago spans a huge geographic and cultural range, supporting extraordinary biodiversity and hosting countless local traditions, while many islands remain virtually unexplored and unmapped. During hibernation, a bear's heart can pause for 15 to 20 seconds between beats. This remarkable adaptation conserves energy, allowing for the animal to survive for months without eating while maintaining essential bodily functions and enduring the harsh conditions of winter. The moon's highest peak, Pakgunsa, rises 5,500 meters above its surrounding surface. This peak surpasses Mount Everest in relative height and showcases the dramatic and varied topography of our natural satellite, emphasizing the extremes of extraterrestrial landscapes. A single day on Venus lasts longer than an entire Venusian year because the planet rotates on its axis extremely slowly. It takes about 243 Earth days to complete one rotation, while a full orbit around the Sun lasts only 225 Earth days. Octopuses have 3 hearts, 2 of which stop beating when the animal swims. The systemic heart continues pumping blood through the body, while the branchial hearts pump blood through the gills. This unique circulatory system supports their highly active, oxygen-demanding lifestyle. Honey is incredibly durable and essentially never spoils. Archaeologists have discovered pots of honey in 3,000-year-old Egyptian tombs that remain edible due to its low moisture content and natural antibacterial properties, making it one of the few foods that can last for millennia without refrigeration or preservatives. Botanically, bananas are classified as berries, while strawberries are not. The distinction comes from how seeds develop inside the fruit. Bananas encase their seeds within the flesh, whereas strawberry seeds grow externally on the surface. This counterintuitive classification highlights the fascinating complexity of plant taxonomy. The Eiffel Tower can grow up to 15 centimeters taller on hot days because of thermal expansion. The iron structure absorbs heat, causing its metal to lengthen slightly, which is a practical demonstration of how environmental temperature can physically affect large-scale architecture over time. Dolphins communicate using unique signature whistles that function like individual names. Each dolphin can recognize the whistle of another and respond accordingly, showing a remarkable level of social intelligence, vocal learning, and individual identification within their pods. Sloths can hold their breath underwater for up to 40 minutes, a time longer than many dolphins. They achieve this by slowing their heart rate and metabolism to conserve oxygen, an adaptation that allows them to avoid predators and survive underwater when needed, despite being slow-moving on land. There are more artificial flamingos in the world than living ones. Plastic lawn flamingos, originally designed in the 1950s as whimsical garden ornaments, have multiplied worldwide, outnumbering the actual flamingo population and illustrating the unexpected cultural impact of mass-produced decorative objects. Koalas have fingerprints so similar to human ones that they can be mistaken in forensic investigations. Even under a microscope, the fine ridges and patterns closely resemble human fingerprints, demonstrating a striking example of convergent evolution in mammalian anatomy. Russia's total land area surpasses that of the dwarf planet Pluto, covering over 17 million square kilometers. Russia is the largest country on Earth, exceeding Pluto's 16.6 million square kilometers, and making it larger than the entire distant celestial body, despite the vast distances and differences in context. Butterflies have taste sensors on their feet, enabling them to land on potential food sources and immediately determine whether the surface contains nectar or is suitable for laying eggs. This adaptation allows them to quickly identify edible plants or optimal egg-laying sites, improving survival and reproduction efficiency. The world's smallest frog, Pediphorin amauensis, measures just 7.7 millimeters, smaller than a dime. Its minuscule size allows it to inhabit leaf litter and tiny crevices, avoiding predators and thriving in microhabitats, representing one of the most extreme examples of miniaturization among amphibians. Certain freshwater turtles, such as the Australian Fitzroy River turtle, can breathe through their cloaca, a posterior opening used for excretion. Specialized sacs in the cloaca extract oxygen from water, allowing these turtles to remain submerged for extended periods without surfacing, an adaptation crucial for survival in aquatic habitats. A group of crows is called a murder, a term steeped in folklore and superstition. Crows are highly intelligent and social birds that often gather in large flocks, and this unusual terminology reflects centuries of human fascination, fear, and myth-making surrounding these black-feathered birds. The longest recorded hiccuping session belonged to Charles Osborne, who hiccuped continuously for 68 years from 1922 to 1990. He experienced an estimated total of 430 million hiccups during his lifetime, a medical anomaly still unmatched, demonstrating the resilience of the human body despite chronic conditions. Some ants, such as certain fire ant species, can survive underwater for weeks by linking together to form living rafts and trapping air bubbles within their bodies. This collective behavior allows entire colonies to endure floods and temporary submersion, showcasing remarkable social cooperation and survival strategies. Sea otters hold hands while sleeping in the water, forming floating rafts that prevent individuals from drifting apart. This behavior maintains strong social bonds within groups, ensures safety, and allows family units to remain together while resting among kelp beds. The longest recorded flight of a chicken lasted only 13 seconds. Chickens, primarily ground-dwelling birds with limited flight capability, demonstrate vestiges of flight behavior, showing that even domesticated birds retain ancestral traits suited for short bursts of aerial movement. Wombats produce cube-shaped feces, an unusual adaptation that prevents droppings from rolling away. This unique shape allows wombats to effectively mark territory, communicate through scent, and maintain clear boundaries in their natural habitats. A jiffy is an actual unit of time, defined as roughly 1/100th of a second in physics and computing. It's used to measure extremely brief intervals, such as electrical impulses, processor cycles, or other rapid phenomena, providing a practical tool for precision measurement. Sharks have existed for over 400 million years, long before trees appeared on Earth. Their cartilaginous skeletons, highly sensitive sensory organs, and efficient predatory adaptations allowed them to thrive in oceans while terrestrial ecosystems were still developing, making them one of the most enduring vertebrate lineages. Owls can rotate their heads up to 270 degrees, an extraordinary adaptation made possible by having extra neck vertebrae and a specialized vascular system. This system ensures uninterrupted blood flow to the brain and eyes, even during extreme head rotation, enhancing their ability to hunt and scan the environment. Flamingos must feed with their heads inverted. Their uniquely structured beaks filter water, mud, and silt to extract algae, small crustaceans, and other microscopic organisms. Upside-down feeding is essential for their survival, allowing them to access nutrients efficiently in shallow waters. Some penguin species, such as Adelie and Gentoo penguins, engage in pebble gifting during courtship. Males present carefully selected pebbles to females, which, if accepted, are added to the nest. This behavior strengthens pair bonds and demonstrates the importance of material offerings in their reproductive strategies. Elephants communicate across vast distances using low-frequency vibrations called infrasound. These sounds travel through the ground, enabling elephants to detect calls from other herds or family members several kilometers away, coordinating movements and social interactions in expansive habitats. Cows form strong social bonds and often have best friends within their herd. Separation from these companions causes measurable stress, including increased heart rates and agitation, illustrating their emotional complexity and the importance of social stability for well-being. The human tongue is unique as a muscle attached at only one end, providing exceptional flexibility. This single-point attachment allows complex movements needed for speaking, swallowing, manipulating food, and performing delicate tasks inside the mouth, making it essential for daily life functions. Sea cucumbers defend themselves by expelling their internal organs when threatened. These ejected organs are sticky, sometimes toxic, and distract predators, while the sea cucumber later regenerates them completely. This remarkable adaptation enhances survival in predator-rich marine environments. A day on Mercury lasts 5-8, Earth days due to its extremely slow rotation relative to its orbit around the Sun. Consequently, one full rotation takes nearly 2 Earth months, meaning Mercury experiences very long days and nights, affecting surface temperature extremes. Armadillos consistently give birth to identical quadruplets. Each litter contains 4 genetically identical offspring, an unusual reproductive trait among mammals, ensuring uniform development and survival advantages in their challenging natural habitats. Some species of mushrooms are bioluminescent, producing a natural glow in the dark through a chemical reaction involving luciferin and luciferase. This light can attract insects and other small creatures, which help disperse their spores, ensuring reproduction in their damp forested habitats. The Sahara Desert, now a vast arid expanse, was once a thriving green landscape with rivers, lakes, and diverse wildlife. Fossils, pollen records, and ancient rock art provide evidence of this humid past, showing how climate change transformed one of the world's largest deserts over thousands of years. A narwhal's tusk, actually an elongated canine tooth, contains growth layers similar to tree rings. By studying these layers, scientists can determine a narwhal's age, track changes in diet, detect periods of stress, and monitor overall health throughout its life in the Arctic Ocean. Human saliva contains a natural painkiller called opioorphin, which is up to 6 times more potent than morphine in laboratory studies. Unlike traditional opioids, it reduces pain without causing addiction, highlighting the body's remarkable ability to produce its own analgesic compounds. The coldest temperature ever recorded on Earth was 98 degrees Celsius, 144 degrees Fahrenheit, at Antarctica's Vostok Station. These extreme temperatures result from high elevation, clear skies, and long polar nights that allow rapid heat loss, creating some of the harshest conditions on the planet. The fastest gust of wind ever measured reached 408 kilometers per hour, 253 miles per hour, during Cyclone Olivia in 1996 in Australia. Such extraordinary wind speeds demonstrate the immense energy in tropical cyclones and the extreme atmospheric forces possible on Earth's surface. Tigers' skin beneath their fur is striped just like their coat. Shaving a tiger reveals the stripe pattern, which is unique to each individual. This distinctive marking helps in identification and camouflage in their natural habitats. A single bolt of lightning can release enough energy to toast around 100,000 slices of bread. Lightning discharges up to 1 billion joules of electrical energy in an instant, making it one of nature's most powerful and awe-inspiring phenomena. Butterflies can see ultraviolet light invisible to humans. This ability allows them to detect nectar guides on flowers, recognize other butterflies, and avoid predators, playing a crucial role in feeding, mating, and survival. The moon is slowly moving away from Earth at a rate of approximately 3.8 centimeters per year. This gradual drift affects ocean tides and the length of Earth's day over millions of years, caused by the transfer of rotational energy from Earth to the moon. Kangaroos cannot walk backward due to their large, muscular tails and powerful hind legs. Their body structure is optimized for forward hopping, which allows them to move quickly and efficiently across open terrain, but makes reverse movement physically impossible. A cockroach can survive up to a week without its head because its nervous system is decentralized and it breathes through spiracles in its body. The insect eventually dies from starvation, not immediate trauma, demonstrating remarkable resilience and simplicity in its physiology. Some sections of the Great Wall of China were built without mortar, using carefully fitted stones and bricks instead, This dry stone construction method has allowed parts of the wall to endure for centuries, resisting earthquakes and erosion remarkably well. Certain sea slugs, such as Elysia chloritica, can absorb chloroplasts from the algae they consume and harness them to perform photosynthesis. This unique adaptation lets them produce energy from sunlight, essentially turning them into solar-powered animals. Koala fingerprints are almost identical to human fingerprints, even under a microscope. This striking similarity has occasionally confused forensic investigations, highlighting convergent evolution in fine skin structures between species. There are more stars in the observable universe than grains of sand on all of Earth's beaches and deserts combined. Estimates suggest over 10 stars exist, revealing the unimaginable scale and richness of the cosmos beyond our planet. Bats consistently turn left when exiting a cave. Scientists suggest this may be due to brain lateralization and innate navigation instincts, which help these nocturnal mammals coordinate flight patterns efficiently in large colonies. The heart of a blue whale, the largest animal on Earth, can weigh up to 450 kilograms and is roughly the size of a small car. With each contraction, it pumps about 220 liters of blood, sustaining the enormous metabolic demands of the whale's massive body. Some frogs, like the wood frog, can survive complete freezing during winter. They halt most bodily functions, and antifreeze-like chemicals in their tissues prevent ice crystals from destroying vital organs, allowing them to come back to life in spring. Humans share roughly 60% of their DNA with bananas, underscoring the shared evolutionary history among all living organisms. Despite vast differences in form and function, fundamental biological mechanisms remain conserved across species. A group of flamingos is called a flamboyance, a term that perfectly reflects their vibrant pink coloration and the dramatic visual effect they create when gathered in large colonies along lakes and lagoons, often moving and feeding in synchronized patterns. Contrary to popular belief, the world's largest desert is not the Sahara, but Antarctica, which spans over 14 million square kilometers. It is classified as a cold desert because it receives very little precipitation, and its ice-covered landscape is inhospitable to most forms of life. Slugs possess 4 tentacles often referred to as noses. The upper pair detect light and shadow, functioning as primitive eyes, while the lower pair are highly sensitive to chemical signals, allowing them to find food and navigate their environment. A hummingbird's heart can beat up to 1,260 times per minute during flight, enabling it to sustain a metabolism that supports rapid wing beats up to 80 times per second in some species, and to hover precisely while feeding on nectar. Owls have asymmetrically placed ears, with one higher than the other, which allows them to detect the precise vertical and horizontal location of sounds. This adaptation enables them to hunt prey even in total darkness by triangulating sounds with remarkable accuracy. The shortest war in recorded history lasted only 38 minutes, occurring in 1896 between the United Kingdom and the Sultanate of Zanzibar. The conflict ended almost immediately because the British forces had overwhelming firepower, demonstrating the dramatic imbalance of military technology at the time. A shrimp's heart is located in its head, specifically in the thorax region beneath the shell. This anatomical arrangement is common in many crustaceans, as it allows the heart to efficiently pump hemolymph throughout the small, compact body. The fingerprints of a human fetus start forming around the 10th week of gestation. These intricate ridge patterns continue developing throughout pregnancy and remain unique to each individual for their entire life. serving as a natural form of identification. The longest place name in the world belongs to a hill in New Zealand and contains 85 letters. Tomato Kapena Wananaya. This Maori name describes the hill's geographical and cultural significance, telling a story about a local ancestor. Some species of sea urchins are capable of living up to 200 years. Their slow growth, low metabolic rates, and resilience to predation allow them to survive for centuries in the ocean, making them some of the longest living invertebrates on the planet. There's a species of jellyfish called Toratopsis dohrnii that is biologically immortal. When faced with stress or injury, it can revert its adult cells back to a juvenile state, essentially restarting its life cycle, which allows it to potentially live indefinitely under ideal conditions. Polar bear fur is not actually white. Each hair is transparent and hollow, scattering visible light to give the appearance of white. This adaptation helps polar bears blend into their snowy environment for hunting, while their black skin underneath absorbs and retains heat from sunlight. A bolt of lightning can reach temperatures of around 30,000 Kelvin, which is roughly 5 times hotter than the sun's surface. This extreme heat causes the surrounding air to expand explosively, producing the thunderclap that accompanies the lightning strike. The axolotl, a type of salamander, has remarkable regenerative abilities. It can regrow entire limbs, parts of its brain, spinal cord, and even sections of its heart without forming scar tissue, making it a unique subject in regenerative medicine research. The world's largest snowflake ever recorded fell in Fort Keogh, Montana in 1887 and measured 38 centimeters 15 inches across. Such an enormous snowflake likely formed from a cluster of smaller flakes, sticking together under very specific atmospheric conditions. Some species of spiders can survive underwater for more than 30 minutes by trapping air bubbles around their bodies, which allows them to continue breathing while submerged. This adaptation helps them escape predators or survive floods in their habitats. A newborn kangaroo, or joey, is extraordinarily tiny, measuring less than 2 centimeters long and weighing under a gram smaller than a cherry. Despite its size, it crawls unassisted into its mother's pouch to continue development for several months. Crows are exceptionally intelligent birds that can recognize individual human faces and remember them for years. They can hold grudges against people who threaten them, and even communicate warnings to other crows in their community. Octopuses have taste sensors all over their arms, allowing them to detect chemicals in the water and identify edible or dangerous substances just by touching them. This adaptation helps them explore and hunt in complex underwater environments. The Amazon rainforest produces about 20% of the world's oxygen through photosynthesis. Its vast network of trees and plants also acts as a critical carbon sink, influencing global climate patterns and supporting extraordinary biodiversity. A group of jellyfish is called a smack. This term reflects the way jellyfish often drift together in large, seemingly chaotic swarms, sometimes appearing to smack the water's surface as they move, creating a striking visual effect for observers. Humans and giraffes share the same number of neck vertebrae, 7. Despite the vast difference in neck length, each vertebra in a giraffe is extremely elongated compared to humans, illustrating how evolution can dramatically modify the same skeletal structure for different functional needs. A snail can sleep for up to 3 years in extreme conditions. During droughts or when food is scarce, snails enter estivation, a hibernation-like state in which their metabolism slows dramatically, allowing them to survive prolonged periods of environmental stress. Starfish have no brains or blood. Instead, they rely on a water vascular system to circulate nutrients and oxygen, while a nerve ring coordinates movement and feeding. This decentralized system allows them to navigate, hunt, and respond effectively to their surroundings without a central brain. The Earth is not a perfect sphere. It is an oblate spheroid. It is slightly flattened at the poles and bulges at the equator due to centrifugal forces from rotation, which influences global gravity, sea level measurements, and satellite trajectories. Honeybees can recognize human faces. By learning and memorizing individual patterns and features, they distinguish between different humans. A cognitive ability that aids in complex navigation and problem solving within their environment. The world's largest living structure is the Great Barrier Reef, stretching over 2,300 kilometers along Australia's northeast coast. Composed of billions of tiny coral organisms, it supports an immense diversity of marine life and is visible from space, showcasing the scale of natural ecosystems. The cheetah is the fastest land animal, reaching speeds of up to 120 kilometers per hour, 75 miles per hour. Its flexible spine, elongated legs, and specialized muscles allow rapid acceleration, though such bursts are sustainable only for short distances, primarily during hunting. Dolphins have been observed using tools, such as marine sponges, to protect their snouts while foraging on the seafloor. This behavior indicates advanced problem-solving skills, social learning, and cultural transmission, as younger dolphins learn the technique from adults. The tongue print of each person is unique, like fingerprints. Variations in ridge patterns, shapes, and textures make it possible to use tongue prints as a potential biometric identifier for security and forensic purposes, highlighting the individuality of human anatomy. Sea sponges can live up to 5,000 years, making them among the longest living animals on Earth. They're simple. Porous body structure and extremely slow growth rates allowed them to endure for millennia in stable, nutrient-rich ocean environments, largely unaffected by predators. The heart of a shrimp is located in its head, a unique anatomical feature due to the fusion of its thorax and head. This heart pumps hemolymph through an open circulatory system, delivering oxygen and nutrients to the body despite the compact layout of its internal organs. Camels have 3 eyelids and 2 rows of long eyelashes, which shield their eyes from blowing sand and intense sunlight in desert conditions. Combined with their ability to close nostrils and tolerate heat, this adaptation makes camels exceptionally suited to harsh, arid environments. Sloths can hold their breath underwater for up to 40 minutes, surpassing even dolphins. They achieve this by drastically slowing their heart rate and metabolism while submerged, allowing them to remain concealed from predators and conserve energy in their slow-paced lifestyle. The first mechanical alarm clock, invented in the 15th century, could ring only at 4 a.m., designed primarily for workers and monks who needed to rise early. It laid the foundation for future timekeeping devices, long before adjustable alarms were invented. A mole can dig tunnels up to 18 feet long in a single night. Its powerful, spade-like forelimbs, sensitive snout, and high metabolism enable rapid excavation of soil, creating complex underground networks for hunting insects and finding shelter. Certain species of ants can create living bridges using their own bodies. When encountering gaps or obstacles, worker ants link together to form a stable structure, allowing the colony to move efficiently and demonstrating extraordinary collective problem-solving and cooperation. The Eiffel Tower expands in summer due to thermal expansion of its iron structure. On very hot days, the metal lengthens enough to increase the tower's height by up to 15 centimeters, contracting again as temperatures drop, illustrating practical physics and architecture. Sharks can sense the faint electrical fields produced by the muscles and nerves of other animals. This highly sensitive system, called the ampulla of Lorenzini, enables them to detect hidden prey under sand or in murky water, giving them a precise hunting advantage. A giraffe's tongue measures about 45 centimeters, allowing it to reach and strip leaves from the tops of tall trees. Its dark coloration protects it from sunburn during long feeding sessions, and its prehensile structure aids in manipulating branches and foliage efficiently. Dolphins sleep with one eye open because only one hemisphere of their brain rests at a time. This unihemispheric sleep allows them to stay alert for predators, navigate, and continue surfacing for air even while resting. The strongest muscle in the human body is the masseter, or jaw muscle. It can exert a bite force of up to 90 kilograms, enabling humans to chew tough foods efficiently, despite its relatively small size compared to other body muscles. A cheetah can accelerate from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in just 3 seconds, making it the fastest land animal. This incredible speed is supported by its lightweight frame, flexible spine, and large respiratory capacity, optimized for short bursts of hunting. Platypuses don't have a true stomach. Their esophagus connects directly to their intestines. Instead of producing stomach acid, they rely on strong digestive enzymes to process food efficiently, which is unique among mammals. Elephants have the longest gestation period of any land animal, lasting nearly 2 years. This extended pregnancy allows the developing calf to grow a large, fully functional brain and body, preparing it for survival in the wild. The world's largest pumpkin ever recorded weighed over 1,200 kilograms. Such enormous pumpkins result from selective breeding, ideal growing conditions, and meticulous care by dedicated growers competing in giant vegetable competitions. A single cloud can weigh over 1 million pounds because it contains massive amounts of water droplets or ice crystals suspended in the atmosphere. Despite the weight, these particles float due to their small size and the upward movement of air. Butterflies can see more colors than humans, including ultraviolet light. Their vision helps them detect flower patterns, mates, and predators, giving them an advantage in navigating their environment and finding food. Sea turtles exhibit remarkable natal homing by returning to the exact beach where they were born to lay eggs. This behavior is guided by magnetic fields, ocean currents, and environmental cues, ensuring the survival of future generations. The first oranges were not orange but green when ripe in Southeast Asia. Their bright orange color developed later through selective cultivation and adaptation to cooler climates, which affected the pigmentation of the fruit's skin. Dear friends, I hope you found this article interesting. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and enable notifications by clicking on the bell. Give us a thumbs up and leave interesting comments. I read all of them and try to respond to each one. If you'd like what I do, check out the rest of the videos on my channel, and new videos are coming out every week. It was a pleasure making this video for you. See you again. Bye.